Hi folks, welcome back to a sunny June afternoon. At last our summer's arrived, and in front of me I've got a Dodge Challenger SRT which we've just completed an audio upgrade in. It's quite an interesting one, so I thought I'd quickly show you around. So these cars have an amplified system on board, so if you're familiar with it you'll know that they carry a 6x9 in the front door. It's the Alpine system, actually, it's branded. And then you've got a wideband in the top of the dash, which is just a 4-inch driver. You've got the integrated head unit and screen here, and you've got a hidden amplifier which drives the system actively at the front end. So we've fitted an audio upgrade. It's a non-DSP upgrade, so in other words we're using a multi-channel amplifier, component speakers and a subwoofer. So it's actually an SR 5600 we've used in here, which is a 5-channel Audison amplifier, and because it's a non-DSP system, we need a way of controlling the subwoofer. So we've added this little subwoofer control that it looks like it grew there. It's a perfect position for it, so it's nice and easy to get to, and that's used to control the subwoofer. Now in the front doors it has a 6x9 from the factory, so that's awesome in terms of mid-bass reproduction. We can really get lots and lots of bass from those front doors. So we've fully soundproofed them. It's a 3-layer soundproofing system in this case. You've got an Audison Prima 6x9 in there, and we've used an Audison wideband in the top of the dash, so they do something called an AP2. So we've got a 2-way component, which is a 6x9 and a 2-inch in the top of the dash. Now, because we normally would use a component as in a 6 and a tweeter, but to do that we'd need a DSP. The reason being that the factory amplifier is active, so the amplifier predetermines a crossover point between the 6x9 and the factory 3-inch in the top of the dash. Now, because that point is predetermined, unless we're going to use a summing module or we're going to put it into a DSP, we're fixed with that crossover point to our outputs. So actually that's the reason for using the 6x9 and the AP2, because the crossover point is very similar. We don't need to process the sound to get a full range signal to recross it over. I hope you took that on board. Any questions, pop it in the comments below. Let me show you the subwoofer. So didn't want to lose any space in the trunk, even though it's pretty huge. So that's what we've built. It's a Mille Pro 12-inch sub. It's a lovely enclosure. It's actually mostly made from MDF. There's not much fiberglass in there. And it fits beautifully, and as you can see, the trim's not a bad match either. It takes up very little space. So, well, it takes up no space actually. If you look at it from here, it's in line with the wheel arch. So that's really cool. Produces a significant amount of bass. Now, obviously we've taken all this apart, fully soundproofed the boot lid. I don't know if the sun's blinding the camera there or if you can see that. So we've fully soundproofed the boot lid. We also removed the rear shelf, soundproofed a lot of the shelf because it's a little bit resonant. There's the factory 6x9 that sits in the bottom of the door. There's the factory mid that sits in the top of the dash. So there you go, they're the 2 drivers we've replaced. There's a subwoofer we've added. I can't show you the amplifier, but it's actually tucked really neatly down here. I'd need to lift the floor up to do that. And to do that, I'm gonna have to take all these deck chairs out, which are color coded to match the car, which is pretty cool. So there you go, Dodge Challenger. Piece of American muscle. If you've got something like this and you fancy an upgrade, you need somebody that understands the way the factory amplifiers operate and can configure a system accordingly, you know where to come. Thank you very much for watching. Enjoy the summer now, it's finally here.